Okay, let me go ahead and I'll share my screen here. So today we are going to cover, excuse me, today we're covering the Elite, the Premier, the SpotDot, and the EmBraille. So we have kind of a wide variety of embossers here. The Elite and Premier are kind of bundled together. The SpotDot is kind of an embosser in its own little category, and the EmBraille is also an embosser in its own little category. These are kind of the specific use case embossers. They do a great job at achieving kind of what they were designed to achieve. So yeah, we'll go over kind of what sets these apart from each other. So just like with the last two webinars, just want to make sure that this is clear. All of the View Plus embossers will print Braille, tactographics. They all do multi-dot height. They will all do the color patterns. They ship with a complimentary version of the Tiger software suite. They're compatible with Windows, Mac, Linux. They can print from any software. It's available to have them print via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi with the Tiger Box. The Tiger Box does not only allow just Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, but has a ton of other features. So if you have not looked into the Tiger Box and you have an embosser, you don't need to purchase the Tiger Box. You don't need to purchase the Tiger Box at the time of buying the embosser. You can always buy the Tiger Box after. So Tiger Box is a great addition to any of the View Plus embossers. Also, we do free driver and firmware updates. All of the embossers will print math, science, and music, and they all come with a standard 12-month warranty. You can extend that. And we can go over that on the next slide. Also with the software, we did say you can print from any software. Some of the standard software, standard piece of software that we see a lot is like Duxbury, Braille 2000, Tactile View. These are all pretty common in the industry. All View Plus embossers can work with these. We can just do kind of the standard software plus everything else. So it's very versatile machines. Extended warranty. The big thing about the extended warranty is the maintenance package. It does a lot of people that use the embossers regularly. We'll send them in. A lot of school districts will send them in every summer. During this time will be the firmware upgrade. We'll do factory cleaning and inspection. We'll remove all the paper dust and debris, lubricate moving parts, alignment. Specifically with the embossers we're talking about today. So the alignment of the embosser heads is very important. Cleaning all the electrical components, testing the condition of the tension and drive, testing the condition and tension of the drive belts and paper belts. And then usually this whole process, we have about a 5-day turnaround. We don't see it a whole lot, but the warranty, and the warranty is also another part of that. It's a pretty standard warranty to where if something goes wrong, we repair it. Again, 5-day turnaround. So it is a great thing to add if you are looking to buy an embosser and you plan on using it quite a bit. So the thing with View Plus embossers is that what you see is what you get. So I have this example on here. I showed this yesterday, but this is an Illustrator file that goes straight from Illustrator into the print preview. You can do either print preview or a PRN file through Tiger Designer, and you can print. So what you see on your screen is what you're going to get out of the printer. There's no fancy software that you have to get to know. It's really pretty simple to make tactographics and Braille. So starting off, we have the Elite and the Premier. These are our toughest production level embossers. These because they are production level embossers, we do have both of these are continuous tractor feed or continuous tractor fed paper. That tends to be the most most common paper type that production embossers use from what we've seen. Both of these can either print single or double-sided. And the biggest difference between these is the characters per second. So the Premier is at 100 characters per second, and the Elite is at 200 characters per second. Both of these have that platen that we've talked about. We've talked about the platen in some of the other webinars, but that gives you that fixed 20 DPI grid. It's very predictable. You know exactly what you're going to get out of it. And it does have a lot of symmetry. So the dots are, because the dots are going to be placed in a very specific place, you know exactly what you're going to get out of the print from these embossers. These will do from 4-inch to 12-inch wide paper, and these are heavy duty. So this will do 10,000 pages per month. Either of these embossers will run just fine by themselves. But we do have some ink attachments for both of these. So the Ink Connect will do 100 DPI black ink only, and that will work on either the Elite or the Premier. We did just come out with the Color Ink Connect, which will only work on the Elite, but that is 300 DPI and full color. So if you were looking for a single pass full color option, that is fantastic when it's paired with the Elite, because you get the fastest speed and the highest DPI in color. It's a great combo for that. For a long time, the Color Ink Connect is still very new. I have kind of had the Rogue as my favorite embosser that I like to use, primarily because you can do the 2-pass method, but the Elite with the Color Ink Connect is starting to that's winning me over. I do like the ease of use of that. You don't need to do the 2-pass method with this. So both of these embossers are built to withstand the toughest embossing requirements. We've got a couple examples here. So on the left side, we've got the Rainbow. This is with the color pattern fill, and I think this is a great example of some of the patterns that we have. So this one here for the Rainbow has the red at the top. We have a brick pattern. Bricks kind of symbolize red. We have like the yellow that has the rays, the green that has the I call it the grass pattern. The blues have the waves. So kind of some of the different colors have patterns that I feel represent real life colors, to make that easy for understanding which color is being represented. Without a Color Ink Connect, we have the lower left option there, which is just Braille printed. Both of these have the tiger dot because it's punching into the platen. So you can see the tiger dot on the Braille. The middle and the right picture, we have a tactile graphic, and we have some math with Braille. These are printed on the Ink Connect. So very versatile machines, and you can customize them based off of what you're needing, whether it's no ink, black ink, 100 characters per second, 200 characters per second. If you need color ink, you'll have to go with the 200 characters per second, but that's because that machine was made to run at the faster speed. So the history of this, the Premier and the Elite were created to replace the Tiger Pro and Tiger Advantage models. These are the first fully custom-built embossers that we have for production printing. We do have the black ink and color, or the black ink option since the beginning, and we just recently released the Color Ink Connect. The Elite 200 comes with you can get it with the Color Ink Connect, whereas the Premier 100 is usually paired with the Black Ink Connect. So where we see this used at, a lot of times it's with standardized testing. The standardized testing really focuses on the predictability and the 20 DPI, the fixed grid, knowing what you're going to get is great for standardized testing. That's the reason the Max was so popular for that. So we do see this with some standardized testing. We also see this with Prism Braille programs. A lot of transcribers will use these because they're meant to print a lot. I see these used with books, large school districts, and then also banks. The nice thing about either the Color Ink Connect or the standard Ink Connect is that it is in one pass. It can print ink and Braille. So we see this a lot with banks because a lot of employees at banks can't read Braille, but being that it will print ink and Braille all in one pass, there's no risk of like a two-pass method with somebody like dropping the papers and having things get mixed up. Everything comes out in a single pass. So the tellers that can't read Braille can tell exactly what's on the paper, but they still have accessible documents that they can hand out. Oftentimes we see this paired up with like a Braille embosser. Braille focuses on Braille only. So a lot of times if they need tactile graphics with what they're printing with a Braille, we'll see the Elite with either the Color Ink Connect or the Ink Connect paired up with a Braille embosser just to be able to overlay the ink and also do the tactile graphics. Sometimes we'll see this with smaller production runs as well. Most tactile guidelines are written based off of this embosser type, so that fixed DPI, the 20 DPI grid, because it's fixed, it's easy to create guidelines because it's so predictable. The Tiger graphics of that. So the thin line handling of the Tiger, because it doesn't allow the embosser to select where it wants to put the dots as easily. So thin lines are handled better with this one. There's a lot of good design techniques for lines because of the fixed DPI grid, and you also have symmetry built in. So if you look over on the thermometer that we have here, the dots on the right thermometer are gray, but they're perfectly symmetrical. So they're not placed in there wherever they fit. It is a perfect grid, so you know exactly what you're going to get with the 20 DPI grid that the Elite and the Premier have. A lot of times publishers and transcribers often prefer to design graphics to best fit the technology. And depending on experience, most users have a preference depending on whether they do Braille or tactographic focused. And this is, especially the Elite with Color Ink Connect, this is our most expensive embosser. It is our most capable embosser. It's the fastest. It does color ink all in one pass. It is a fantastic embosser. With that being said, that doesn't mean that everybody needs an Elite with Color Ink Connect. There are a ton of other good options out there that will fit your needs. But if production embossing and you want color or you want ink in general is what you're looking for, I'd challenge that. I don't think there's anybody else out there that can even come close to what the Elite and the Premier offer. Excuse me. So the TSS settings in here, the one nice thing about anytime that there is ink involved in printing with either a two-pass method or the single-pass method, is it allows the option for interlining the text. So right here we have the settings set up with Arial, 20-point font, and this will place the text above the Braille. So some of these options here, if we go back to like this option, this is not a 20-point font, but this we have the ink above the braille. So this would be exactly how you would see that coming out in a single pass printing with ink and braille. So these options are built into the software. It makes it very simple to do single pass printing. So single pass is the simplest method for mixing ink overlay with braille or tactographics. The added color with the Elite 200 or the Ink Connect with the Premier 100 allows for more of an inclusive experience. So we're trying to focus a lot on having inclusive documents instead of just accessible documents. So be that there's color, there's patterns, braille, text. What this does is allows everybody to be able to use the same document. The braille and tactile graphics is automatically embossed with the tactile layer on this, so there's no extra step with that. And then also the standard text can also be embossed with that as well. So with the color patterns that we've come out with, so you'll see we have the color wheel over here on the right. We have like for red, we have bricks for red. Brown is kind of some of these squares. Purple is dots. Blue is waves. We have my the grass pattern here for green. We have rays for yellow, and then circles for orange. So all of these patterns are customizable. This is just kind of a starting place, but this is trying to make it easy with single pass being able to do tactographics with color very easily. So the SpotDot is, I've had the SpotDot for a while. SpotDot's a cut sheet embosser. It will do 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, or up to 8.5 inches wide. This does have a smaller duty cycle. This is rated at 1,000 text pages per month of duty cycle. This does have that 20 dpi tactile resolution, and it only prints at 50 characters per second. But for a personal embosser, this is still a great option. So this is a 300 dpi color and black ink. We also have this is also only single-sided. So this is an embosser that if you need cut sheet is a great option. The downside to this one is it does only print on a smaller form factor paper. So the 11.5 by 17 will not fit in this, but if you're looking for color ink, this is a good option. So some of the examples we have here, these are all smaller sheets, but with math, we have the right triangle, or the triangle here. Ink with tactile. We also have bar charts, and then we have the flower diagram. With that, the color and ink is very easily put together. So we see this a lot in school districts with students that are low vision, because it kind of bridges that gap to where they can still have kind of a document with both ink and tactile on it. We also see this a lot in school districts that's heavily focused on inclusivity as well. So the SpotDot, very similar technology to the Elite and the Premier. This is going to give you the triangle-shaped dots. It's going to be this 20 dpi embossed dot density, and it's going to have built-in ink. So this is going to use HP ink. Makes it very easy for doing single pass printing and embossing. What this can't do, if you're looking for something that will do those sturdy, like the Power Dot for like the Columbia or the Delta, This does not do the power dot. This is the Tiger dot, so different dot type. This does not do double-sided. And if you also need that really high 100 dpi tactile resolution, this does not do that as well. This is set to the standard 20 dpi. So very predictable, but not super high resolution on that. So a couple different options we have here for printing. So we have draft, standard, and best mode. The difference with this is not the embossing, because the with a Columbia or a Delta or a Rogue, when you set the embosser to draft, standard, or best, this is going to change where the dots are placed. With a SpotDot or an Elite or a Premier, the dot placement can't change. You're set to a 20 dpi grid. So when you do draft, standard, or best with a SpotDot, what you're actually setting is the ink. So you're still going to get very similar embossing. It just depends on how high of quality of where you want the ink placement to be. So sometimes we see quite a few people that run on draft because the ink placement is not as big of a deal for them as the tactile, and so the tactile stays the same across all three modes there. So we have we also have the EmBraille. So the EmBraille is I really like the EmBraille because it's a very compact, highly portable embosser. And I think the reason I like the EmBraille so much is that we see a lot of school districts use this that have schools that are spread out, and the TVI will need to travel between schools. This little embosser is, I think it weighs, weighs 11 pounds. It does print smaller paper, so it'll go up to 8.5-inch wide paper. It does print Tiger Plus graphics, so it still prints into a platen, but it is a polymer platen, so you do get the 100 dpi resolution on this one. It does only print at 25 characters per second, so it is quite a bit slower than, say, a Columbia. But you get a lot of portability with that. It also does primarily tractor-fed paper, but it will do some single cut sheet. You can do single sheet fed paper in here as well. This does do single-sided only, and it is rated at 1,000 text pages duty cycle per month. So some of the examples we have here. So we have a US map on the left. We've got a couple different. So we've got some Braille with some squares here in the center, and then we've got a sheet with Braille. You'll notice on here that the dots are round dots, because it is a round solenoid that's punching into the platen, but it's not punching into a die. So the dots that you get out of a Columbia or a Delta is going to be crisper or sturdier, but these still are great dots for what you get out of it. The EmBraille is a very budget-friendly embosser. It's portable. For the people that need that, it's a great little embosser, and there's really no other embosser on the market that fits that price range, that portability. If that's what you're looking for, it's a fantastic little embosser. So what this can do, it does do the rounded dots. We don't call this the power dot like we do with the Columbia or the Delta, just because those dots are very crisp with the dies on the other side. But it does have the rounded dots. We'll do 100 dpi tactile resolution, and it will do 17 dpi embossed dot density. This will do tractor feed paper or single sheet feed paper. And it has adjustable Braille dot spacing is standard as well. What it can't do is the Tiger dots. It doesn't do the triangle shaped dots. It can't do the 20 dpi embossed dot density. It does not have built-in ink, and it is not a production level embosser. So with this, because it has the platen and because it can do the 100 DPI, you'll notice that the difference between draft mode, standard mode, and best mode, the dot placement does get quite a bit better. The dot intensity gets better. So you'll notice on the Braille down here, the Braille's still very legible. But as you move over to the best mode, you can definitely tell that there is a higher intentionality of where the dots are placed. They're a lot more, they're a lot crisper. Also, you'll notice in the tactographic, parts of the cell here are a lot easier to read than they are over in the draft mode. Draft mode's pretty fast, but the best mode is definitely going to give you the best tactographics and Braille output that we have. So where we see this used, oftentimes it's in classrooms, and primarily those classrooms are ones that the school district's a little bit more spread out. Maybe this is in a rural area in the U.S. and they travel between different schools. We also see this in like restaurants where they need to print out new menus or something like that, and they don't need to use it a whole lot, but they do need it when they do updates for menus and things. We see this in libraries, and we also see this in churches. So if you're looking for a great all-around printer, this is a good option here. So tractor feed versus cut sheet. Tractor fed embossers are the EmBraille, the Road Track, the Elite, the Premier, and the Columbia. So a lot of the embossers we've covered today are tractor fed specifically. The EmBraille will do single sheet of cut sheet, and then the SpotDot is a fully cut sheet embosser. So when it comes down to View Plus and comparison with our competitors, View Plus is the standard for tactographics. We have the color pattern fill, we have the multi-dot height. Nobody else does multi-dot height. And no one else also automatically replaces colors with textures. No one else does single pass ink. So out of the embossers we've covered today, like I said at the beginning, this is something that if you have a need for some of this stuff, these are specific embossers that fit those needs very, very well. These are the easiest, most flexible to use embossers. And then also we covered this yesterday on the Columbia and the Delta. The Columbia and Delta I try to use as an apples to apples comparison, even though a lot of the embossers that we have today are focused on the Tiger Dot. The Tiger Dot's still going to have that dot consistency that the Columbia and Delta have. But trying to compare apples to apples here, we went with the Power Dot because all of our competitors are focused on that round dot as well. And you'll see the dot spacing in here with the competitors' embossers are skinny in some spots, wide in some spots, giving kind of a wavy dots output, making it not very consistent, a little bit difficult to read at times, and also inconsistent spacing. So even when the dots are not wavy, you'll see the dots over on the right-hand side here. We have wider dots on one cell. This one, the dots are not wavy, but skinnier dot placement. And then we're back to a wider dot placement. So very wavy and inconsistent dots there. And so with our embossers, we have a couple different options here for getting your hands on our samples. So first of all, you can go into viewplus.com. We offer the Tiger software suite for 30 days with, we don't ask for a credit card or anything like that. You can download it for 30 days, free trial, no watermarks, no restrictions. You get the full use of the embosser or the software for 30 days, you can download that and print to files or do print previews, like I had shown earlier here. Um, and you can actually email us at sales at ViewPlus and ask us to send you the samples that you created. If you don't want to create your own samples and you just kind of want to see what the experience with the Tiger Dot's like, if you're used to an embosser uh, that has a rounded braille dot, and you think this is the Tiger Dot sounds interesting, but I've never experienced that, you can go to viewplus.com/request-samples. And we can send you the Tiger Dot from an Elite. You can see what the new color ink is all about and how the color and ink tactographics lay together. And all of that's free. So you can get the free 30-day trial of TSS. You can request samples for free. These are big decisions to buy an embosser. So we want to make sure that you're getting the embosser that fits your needs, and the output that comes out of the embosser is exactly what you expect. Also, if you have additional questions, feel free to jump on to viewplus.com/demo. You can book a demo with me. We'll go over specific use cases. I have a lot of people that ask about math. But sometimes we just have people that they look at the output file of let's say the butterfly that I showed at the beginning in Illustrator. That looks really complicated. It's not, and so a lot of times people will request a demo just to see how easy is it to create tactographics. You can also do the newsletter sign up. And we have a lot of videos posted on YouTube. So you can go to youtube.com/@viewplustech. So a lot of different ways to get a hold of us. You're also welcome to call and reach out. We've got tons of options for questions. We do have a little bit of time left. So I did kind of want to go over a couple things in here on creating tactographics. So let's just go over. So we have on viewplus.com, you can go to the Tiger software suite. And right now we have version 9.0.15, gives all the new features with that. If you have an older version, you can download the new version and see what the new features are like. So you can click on download TSS. This will give you a 30-day trial that requires activation after the 30 days. So you can download that. And then you can also go to any one of our embossers. So let's do the Elite here, and you can go down to resources, and we're going to download the Elite driver. And so I'm going to download the Windows driver, and I'll show you how easy this is. We'll go through. If you're interested in the Elite, we can go through the install process for this. So I'm going to go ahead and install the Elite driver. This goes pretty quickly. And we can walk through how to create a tactographic from scratch. If you don't have an embosser, click on Next, accept the terms, hit Next, and install. And so when you install this, this installs the driver, and then you go into the Windows printer printer manager, and you can either add your Elite or Premiere that you physically have, or you can set this up to print a file, which is what I'm going to show you today, and that will show you what the output files look like when you create tactographics. So we'll say finish, and I'm not going to restart it right now. I'm going to printer. It's right, printers and scanners. I have all my printers and scanners here. I have the Elite with the color ink connect. I don't actually have an Elite installed on here. So let's go to add device. It's going to search for a second. I don't have an Elite plugged in, so it's going to come up and say that I couldn't find one. Let's say add this manually. I want to add a local printer or network printer with manual settings. I'm going to click next. You can select the drop-down port and just say print to file. Click next. And so I'm going to select V Plus, and I want to do the Elite 200. Click next. I'm going to say file. Oops. So that way that I know that I'm printing to file. I use this. Next. And I don't want to share the printer, and finish. So now this printer is installed. I can go to Word. Word is the easiest way for me to make tactile graphics. So we're going to open up a new copy of Word. And I'm going to go to the Tiger menu, open this. I want to go to the printer file here. I want to use this for the Elite and hit save. Save that quick. Brown fox jumped over the fence. So we're going to put some text on here. Space down a couple times. We're going to insert, put in a image, cartoon, fox, add a fox. Actually, let's add this one. I haven't. I'm going to add that one. Just going to download the image. Got some text down here that I don't need to have this translated into Braille saying that it doesn't know who the author of this is. So I'm going to delete this. And then I can just go up to the Tiger menu and hit translate document. It's going to ask me to save it. Go ahead and hit save. So we have text, we have Braille, and we have tactile graphics. And so I can just hit Control P on here. And so I have here the View Plus Elite 200 print file that we just added. And hit print. We're going to say Fox. Save this to the desktop. Save. Should think for a second. So we have the Fox PRN. So we have the ink layer here. This is with the standard ink connect, not the colored ink connect. And then we have the tactile graphic with the Braille. Very easy to download our drivers, download the software, and create tactile graphics. If you are curious about how to create tactile graphics and you want to see what that turns out like, you want to make your own, you have a document that you want to try translating, it's really that simple. If you go in here and you can email me this file, whatever file it is that you create, and just say, hey, I just made this. I'd like to see what it looks like. Can you print out a couple pages of this for me so I can experience the embosser before we buy one? I'd be more than happy to send you samples. And maybe Word is not your preferred program. I always like to use Paint because I'm terrible at drawing, and so Paint makes it easy for me. I usually draw mountains on my demos here, but we're going to do some mountains here. And let's see, we go down like this, go up here, go here. So got some mountains. I usually draw a sun and some trees, but I'm going to do a sun here. And then if there's let's do I don't know, a brush. Let's pretend like I'm making a river that comes out of here. It's a river that comes out of the side, and let's do a happy little, I don't even know what that is. Let's pretend that's a bear. But we're going to hit Control P. We're going to print this. We're going to go to the Elite again. So again, creating tactile graphics on the Elite that we downloaded the driver. We set it up as print to file. It is creating the tactile graphic here. So we have the mountain, and we have the ink version, and we also have the tactile version. So creating tactile graphics is easy. This has been, I think, 4 minutes of 2 samples of creating tactile graphics. I also, so sometimes you don't need to create, sometimes you don't need to create tactile graphics. If you have something that you would like to print out, let's see, images. I'm going to pick the Nike swoosh. It was actually really funny when I started working here. Dan sent me home with a Columbia, and Dan's our CEO, and so he sent me home with a Columbia and said, "Here, go get used to it. Go make some tactile graphics." And I this was literally the process that I went through. I was like, I don't even know anything about tactile graphics. This seems complicated. I don't know what software I need to get. And so I thought, well, we're going to start with just creating something that I know. I did. I went home and I downloaded the Nike swoosh. I hit print. So it's going to let a preview here. And I thought there's no way that this is going to be that simple. Um, I know that this is going to need to shrink to fit. Let's do uh, like this. Hit print, Nike. And I hit print. And I thought something's going to, it's going to come out weird or something's going to not line up right. And when I opened the print file, I had the ink, came over here, and I had the tactile. I thought that was way simpler than I planned on, which kind of goes to feed into our motives behind creating the tactile graphics imposters. Is really trying to make stuff easy. So whether you have stuff from somebody else that they've made that you need to print, um, you don't need to use specialty software. You can if you want to. If you want to use Duxbury and TactiveView, that's definitely an option. But we make these embossers to where if you're familiar with Paint like I am, and you grew up using Microsoft Paint to doodle in, and that's what you want to create tactile graphics in, that's great. If you want to do advanced stuff, we have somebody that I know of that uses CAD for creating blueprints for architecture. So that's an option. I know Lindsay creates all of our coloring books. Um, and so if you have, let me get a View Plus here. So on the shop here, you can go, we have a whole section for coloring books. So we have versions 1 through 5. And so our most recent version is version 5, which is the fall version. So they have leaves and pumpkins in there. You can select the grade. And if you want to have Braille labeled crayons, I think they are $20 to $25. But here's the best part. If you scroll down to the download at the bottom, if you have a View Plus embosser, these print on 8.5 by 11 paper. And you can download all 10 pages by downloading the coloring book. We have all the different options here. So you can either download the PDF or the PRN. And download the coloring book that you want and use it. That's totally free to be able to do that. And actually, I think I'm going to have Lindsay give a quick demo here on how she creates stuff in Illustrator, so that way that you can see that if you want to create stuff in Paint and do things that way, that's an option. But if you're a little more advanced, you have specific tools you want to use, it really does work with pretty much anything. Go ahead and stop sharing my screen here. Lindsay, if you want to go ahead and share your screen.
Yeah. And before I get started on the creating tactile graphics part, Lloyd mentioned that the fall coloring book is the newest one, but there's soon to be an even newer one because I just finished the fantasy book and we're going to bring this to ATIA. And it'll be up on the website soon for purchase or download, but we've got a unicorn. Let me zoom out a little bit. Sword and shield, mermaid, dragon, crystal ball, magic wand, a map, princess, castle, and wizard. So I'm really excited to bring this one to ATIA. And I make all the graphics in Illustrator, and then when I'm done, I export it as SVG and just insert that graphic into Word to add text and have it all be one document, because I think most people feel pretty comfortable printing from Word. Not everyone has access to Illustrator or more advanced tools. So if you were here yesterday, this is going to be mostly the same demo. I'm going to draw a tulip this time and preview it on the Color Ink Connect. And I use a 2-point font in Illustrator because that's what gives me nice like single dot with lines. I'll just add a leaf. So there's my little tulip. I'm going to use the ellipse tool to add a sun, and we'll just use the pen to throw some grass in there. So you can use whatever program or whatever tools you're familiar with, because as long as it has a print button, you can print from anything. And we can add some text. I'll just write tulip under the sun. And you can format this however you want. And then if you want to add Braille text, adding Braille text is very easy in Word because you have a translate button, it'll do everything for you. But if you want to add Braille text in another program, then you can use the View Plus translator, which is built into TSS. So I use it all the time for translating my text in Illustrator and other programs. But it'll translate whatever you have copied into your clipboard, and you have some options here for grade 1, grade 2, or math type, capitals, jumbo braille. So you just hit translate, and this is already copied into my clipboard, so I can come back over here and paste it in. And we need to format this as the Braille 36 font, and since it's Braille 36, we need to change it to 36 point. Let me move the sun out of the way. So now we have our ink text and our Braille text, and our graphic. So we're gonna go to print, and I have the Elite with Color Ink Connect selected, and I also have print preview on. So when I hit print, instead of just printing straight away, it's going to pop up with a preview, so I can make sure that what I'm printing is going to look like I want it to. And when you're printing to an embosser that has ink capabilities, you're gonna get 2 different previews of the ink layer and the tactile layer. And you can also go to view, combined view, to see both at the same time.
So did you have this going to the Color Ink Connect or just the Ink Connect? Oh, it looks like
This
the Color Ink.
is the Color Ink Connect. So actually, let's just add a little bit of color in there. Get a red tulip. I didn't set my layers up very well here. So the color's kind of spilling over, but that's fine. We'll still get a representation of the color. So now when I hit print, we got that color in there. And then we also have it's a very dark red, so it comes out as a pretty high dot height. But the grass down here is kind of thick. And if I wanted to adjust that in the printer settings, I can go to preferences and then Tiger, more options, and I can adjust the contrast brightness of the tactile and the ink layer, and also the thin line intensity. And this is what's going to make the lines either thicker or thinner. But you can also, once you have a preview, you can save it, or you can just print to file to get a PRN like Lloyd did earlier. And I'm going to open this and select this grass and then go to transform color, and from here I can adjust brightness and contrast and edges and get that down to one line. And that's how easy it is to create and edit tactile graphics.
And again, it doesn't have to be Illustrator. We've had people that have used CAD. We've had use what you're comfortable with. I actually hear CorelDRAW is fairly popular. I've never used it, but it has a print button, so I know people use that all the time. Does anybody have any questions or anything? We've got about 5 minutes left before we're at time. So if anybody has any questions, we'd be glad to answer anything. Also, we will have all of our embossers at ATA here in a couple of weeks. So if you want, go ahead and or if you're gonna be at ATA, feel free to stop by. And Lindsay, myself, we've got quite a few people. We'll all be there. So stop by and say hi. We can show you the embosser in person. So yeah, that's we have ATI, then CSUN's going to come up here in a couple of months. All of the embossers will be at both of those if you're either in Florida or California.